Hi, this is Jeff Lichtenstein with Echo Fine Properties, and real important topic that I want to talk about today because we're in that hurricane zone season, and it's insurance, more of a drier topic. I'm with John Rayrat, who owns Landmark Insurance of the Palm Beaches, and John's been doing this for a long time. So what's important right now with hurricanes coming in that people need to know if they're either buying a house in terms of getting in, and B, what insurance should they have that sometimes people don't have?
Insurance-wise, the most important thing with anything is preparation and actually knowing what you have. I mean, that's one of the big problems, especially because we have so many seasonal people coming from out of state that they don't realize that a lot of the features that they could be protecting their home with are readily available out there and really not too expensive. Shutters or even something simple as plywood. And the big thing is really to prepare ahead of time, instead of a lot of times where people wait until the last second. You're seeing these super lines at Home Depot at the last minute, and people aren't ready for the storms. And I think that's what we've seen over the years where people had the most damage, was because they don't have the proper procedure put in place.
What is, if you have hurricane shutters or impact glass, how much does that bring your house down? Let's just say like on a 3,000 square foot home.
With a 3,000 square foot home, you're probably looking at least a $500 credit every single year. And more importantly, what you're looking at is not having to clean up in the aftermath. A lot of the stuff that we saw back in 2004 and 2005 when I first moved here was just bad preparation. People didn't take it seriously, and it was a big problem, and they had a lot of cleanup and months of uncomfortable living to deal with. So.
And how much does flood insurance run, and what if you have a hurricane that comes in, and let's say it's not a hurricane, it's downgraded to a tropical storm like you saw with Sandy, or like in other areas like in Houston when there's heavy flooding going on? Do you advise people to have flood insurance?
Absolutely, and the difference with it here is that people think that it's going to be another $2,000 or $3,000 premium on top of their homeowners, and it's just not true. It's with the preferred risk policy, which the majority of Palm Beach County is in, it's only $450 if it's your primary residence. So it's really not too bad, and it gives you peace of mind. You can sleep at night.
What could be a disaster if something came in? It was a tropical storm, or where is it not considered hurricane damage and it's considered flood?
It's basically the definition is an inundation of 2 acres or more. So if you look at it, and we always say if it's rising water, if you have a storm that comes through and rips a hole in your roof and then floods the inside of your home, that's going to be more along the hurricane lines. If you have no breach in the building, you just have water rising, that's really the key there, and that's going to be flood. Well, the biggest thing is just pulling out your policy, and that's something we should really do with our clients every single year, and a lot of people fall into the routine of setting it and forgetting it and paying it and just moving on. It really should be looked at every single year just to evaluate changes in your lifestyle and anything that you've purchased. So definitely pulling the policy out, having that ready to see what you've actually got. Checking into preparations as far as securing the structure, so your shutters, if you can only afford plywood, then plywood as well, but have it ready ahead of time so you're not scrambling to find it at the last moment. And then lastly, probably the 3 days of supplies like they usually recommend, having water and food as a backup in case you go a few days without power. I mean, that's a big one. Should people take pictures of the contents of their house? Absolutely. One of the easiest ways to do that, as we've discussed recently, was just walking through with even just a video or taking a picture of each room. You can catalog it. You don't necessarily have to do it, but it's a lot easier if I'm coming out as an adjuster and there's damage. Mm-hmm. Then you can say, here's a list of everything I had, or here's a video of everything that I've had, versus trying to guess at what was in each room, especially if things were blown all over the place. So is that just fine with your iPhone, just take pictures of each room and categorize? Exactly. I'd probably go into closets, and if there's anything of particular value, definitely something to bring up with your insurance agent. How do you know for insurance right now, when you're buying it, how do people watch out for scam artists? Because everybody's, could prey on people. Absolutely. I think the biggest problem, or the biggest thing to watch out for, is anybody that's wanting a cash deposit or taking a full deposit before they're starting any work. You're going to have a lot of people like we had coming in from out of state, so you're not going to have the background check. So I mean, I would say a big part of it is probably going to check with your insurance company and see if they do have a preferred vendor list, and that way you're most likely guaranteed. At least you've got a little bit better edge versus some of the people that you're picking off the street. So a lot of our companies here do have preferred vendors that they do work with that offer guarantees. So that way, if you're going through the company, at least you have that safety net as a backdrop, and you're not out there naked. If a storm happens and you have some damage, what's the first thing you do? First thing is to just make sure everybody's safe, obviously, and get everybody out of the house if you need to, and then give us a call. And the easiest way, like we talked about earlier, was making sure that you have your policy and everything ready, so you have the claims number ready. And part of the issue with what we dealt with in a smaller office back in 2004 is we had over 1,000 claims for the hurricanes, and it's first come, first serve. So if you get your name, the sooner you get your name in, the better. So if there's damage there and you have your claim number handy, call it in right away, even if it's in the middle of the night, as long as you still have service, and that way you can get the claim moving right away, because waiting 4 or 5 hours could be the difference in you being number 5 in the queue or number 500, and that's going to make a huge difference come payment time.
Jeff Lichtenstein with Echo Fine Properties, Landmark Insurance. Real important to make sure when you're before the storms that you check what your insurance policy is.